The 1950s to 1970s were widely considered the golden age of flying. Unlike air travel today, passengers back then could expect unmatched elegance, refined service, and an in-flight experience that's hard to imagine now. This video will share 10 flight features that define the golden age of flying and made air travel something you would look forward to just as much as the destination itself. Airplane food was very different than what we get today. Back then, the meals were carefully prepared and it was closer to a fine dining experience. Meals were served on real plates with metal utensils, glass cups, and cloth napkins, making even economy sections feel classier. The kitchens used fresh ingredients to prepare full-course meals that would span hours on long-haul flights. You would start with a light appetizer like shrimp cocktail, and then dig into the main course, which could be anything from lobster to prime rib. In first class, meals were often carved and served tableside to add a personal touch to your meal. The entire service felt intentional and elegant, turning mealtime into one of the most memorable parts of the flight. Along with wowing you with their dining experiences, airlines also focused on comfort over maximizing the capacity of their aircrafts. The seats were wider, legroom was generous, and even the seats reclined back further. Instead of squeezing into tight rows in economy, you could sit back and relax while you enjoyed the journey. During the golden age of flying, the legroom was an average of 35 inches, and it has shrunk to only 31 inches today for major carriers. First-class legroom was even larger, and you felt like you were sitting in your living room with 60 inches of legroom. The seats were deeply cushioned and had comfortable footrests. These spacious cabins provided more of a relaxing experience than the tight cabins of today that feel more like a public bus in the sky. If you were lucky enough to get first-class tickets, you may also have had access to an in-flight lounge during long-haul flights. Passengers could leave their seats and head to the lounge to socialize, dine, and relax with fellow travelers. These in-flight lounges would typically be in the rear or on the upper deck of the aircraft. Depending on the airline, you would have booth seats, a cocktail bar, and even a piano set up in the lounge. Airlines like Pan Am and TWA would use in-flight lounges to compete for wealthier customers. The lounges helped to create a feeling that the airline was more like a private club than an actual mode of transportation. However, by the 1980s, the rising fuel costs and deregulation caused the in-flight lounge concept to fade into history. One thing about the golden age of flying that we don't miss is the prevalence of smoking. It wasn't something that was just allowed, it was expected by most people when you boarded onto the plane. Passengers lit up cigarettes, cigars, and pipes from the comfort of their chairs, which often featured built-in ashtrays. If you needed more, a flight attendant would often have complimentary cigarette packs to keep you happy. Some airlines attempted to implement smoking-only sections, but it was poorly executed and the smoke drifted into the non-smoking sections. The 1950s to 1970s saw smoking as sophisticated and a part of a jet-set lifestyle. Fortunately, these days are long gone and smoking doesn't go hand in hand with air travel anymore. The glamour of the golden age of flying could be best represented by the uniforms of the cabin crew. Airlines had strict appearance standards, and the uniforms were updated often to represent the current fashion trends. The top airlines of the era, such as Pan Am and TWA, even had uniforms that were created by leading fashion designers. These flight stewardess uniforms often included wearing tailored skirts, white gloves, and high heels. The focus on style helped to sell air travel as an exclusive experience. Airlines would go as far as require their stewardesses to go through several outfit changes throughout the flight for different stages of the journey. Boarding and unboarding required formal dress code, while the mealtime and cruising altitude phases of the flight let the flight stewardesses wear more relaxed attire. Flight stewardesses weren't the only ones that focused on their appearance. During the golden age of flying, passengers treated it like a special occasion and dressed the part as well. Unlike today, where sweatpants and hoodies are the popular choice, the golden age of flying saw men wearing suits with polished shoes and women wearing dresses with heels. Looking sharp was part of the experience, and it helped to match the overall vibe that air travel had. At the time, flying had a greater sense of importance, and it was equal to going to a theater or a fine dining restaurant. Over the years, as flying became more accessible to the general public, the days of caring how you looked went away. Comfort took over, and with it, the glamour of air travel quietly faded into history. During the golden age of flying, every flight deck required 3 people to operate the plane. Along with the 2 pilots, an unsung hero was the flight engineer that quietly handled all the complex systems of the aircraft. The flight engineer was a highly trained professional that managed the fuel, hydraulics, and electrical controls. To the untrained person, the inside of a cockpit was full of hundreds of dials, switches, and gauges. To a flight engineer, these were critical features that needed to be analyzed in real time. Today, most of these processes are automated, but in the golden age of flying, a flight engineer was essential. Eventually, the flight engineers became obsolete as airlines switched to aircrafts operated by computer systems. The final flight that had a flight engineer on board in the U.S. was in 2009 by Northwest Airlines, who finally retired their last Boeing 747-200. One of the advancements in air travel that has made our lives much easier is the jet bridge. During the golden age of flying, your only option was to enter the plane through the portable air stairs. These were mobile steps that were rolled up to planes' entrances that you had to use to enter and exit. This was a more uncomfortable experience, as you had to walk on the tarmac in the sun with the plane's engine spinning in the background. However, a benefit to the air stairs was that they made for a great photo opportunity. Travelers dressed up in their finest attire posed on the air stairs or in front of the plane, awaiting their upcoming travel journey. The air stairs made flying more of a dramatic experience that added to the appeal for many travelers. In some cases, the air stairs are still used today if the airport doesn't have any more jet bridges available. When entering the airport during the golden age of flying, security was far more relaxed than it is today. It was an era of carefree flying that focused on getting you on your reserved flight in as little time as possible. You didn't have to plan to arrive at the airport hours early in order to complete ID checks and go through TSA security lines. Travelers could show up minutes before the flight time and walk straight through to their gate. In some cases, you could walk on the tarmac to get to your flight. However, security started to get tighter during the 1970s after a series of hijackings forced the government to act. By 1973, it was mandatory to undergo screenings, but it was still rather theatrical and does not compare to airport security post 9/11. Before you could post your travel memories on social media, airlines gave you a way to share your travels with a postcard. During the golden age of flying, it was common for airlines to hand out postcards that featured the airline, destination, and the interior of the aircraft. These postcards were generally found in the seat's back pockets, or they would be handed out by a stewardess. With a postcard, you could write a message and then simply drop it in the mailbox at the airport. While it was a small gesture, the postcards and souvenirs provided by airlines helped to make your experience special. It was the first photo or memory to start off your vacation, and many people cherished it long after the adventure was over. Thanks for flying back in time with us. Which flight feature do you think they should bring back today? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.